The mall was crowded, loud, and full of weekend chaos when a sudden tug on his sleeve made Daniel freeze. He looked down, and saw a little girl with trembling lips, wide teary eyes, and a worn-out stuffed bunny clutched to her chest. Her voice cracked as she whispered the words that would stop any grown man's heart. "Sir, please stay with my mom tonight." Daniel had no idea who she was. No idea why she chose him. And no idea that this moment, this tiny voice asking for help, would change not just her life, but his too. Before the story continues, if you're new here, make sure to like, subscribe, and comment your thoughts. We share real, emotional, and inspiring human stories here on Kindness Diaries, stories that remind us that kindness can change lives in ways we never expect. Daniel was a single dad, exhausted, juggling 2 jobs, and barely keeping things together after his wife passed away. He brought his son, Ethan, to the mall's play area for a rare break. He wasn't expecting drama. He wasn't expecting anyone to need him. But now, this little girl was gripping his sleeve as if he were the only person left in the world who could help. Trying to steady his voice, Daniel knelt down. "Sweetheart, what's wrong? Where's your mom?" The girl sniffled and pointed toward a bench near the play area. A woman sat hunched over, one hand gripping her head, the other shaking uncontrollably. Her breathing was uneven, too fast, too shallow. Daniel had seen this before. His wife used to suffer from panic attacks before her illness. The little girl whispered, She said she was fine, but she's not. I'm scared. People walk by and no one helps. Please, sir, don't leave her alone tonight." The words weren't dramatic. They weren't poetic. They were the desperate plea of a child who'd learned too early what fear feels like. Daniel swallowed hard. He looked at Ethan, who was watching from the play area, confused but trusting. And then he looked at the woman, the mother fighting her own storm. He stood up. "I'm not going anywhere," he said softly. Daniel helped the woman sit upright and guided her through slow breathing exercises, something he remembered doing with his wife on difficult nights. At first, she struggled, gasping between breaths. But gradually, her shoulders loosened, her eyes opened, and color returned to her face. "Thank you," she whispered shakily. "I didn't want my daughter to see me like this. It's been a hard week. I think I pushed myself too far." Her name was Maya, and the moment she could finally speak clearly, the little girl, Emma, ran into her arms, crying with relief. Maya hugged her tight, murmuring apologies. Daniel stood back, giving them space. But Emma wiped her eyes and looked up at him again. "Sir, can we please go home now? I don't want her to be alone." Daniel hesitated. He had a son responsibilities. Dinner to cook. Laundry waiting. He didn't know these people. Society teaches us to help from a distance, but not to step too far into someone else's storm. But something inside him whispered, "Do for her what you wish someone had done for you." He remembered all the nights he sat beside his wife's hospital bed, praying for strength, wishing he had someone, anyone, to lean on. He gently took Emma's hand. "Let's walk your mom to the car. We'll get her home safely." They moved slowly through the parking lot. Maya apologized over and over, embarrassed. But Daniel kept reassuring her that she wasn't a burden. Panic doesn't discriminate. Anyone can break. He helped her into the car and made sure she could drive. But as Maya tried to turn the ignition, her hand shook again, and tears filled her eyes. "I can't," she whispered. "Not yet." Emma looked at Daniel with total trust. "Please, sir." Daniel exhaled deeply. "Follow me," he said gently as he helped her move to the passenger seat. "I'll drive you home." He called Ethan's grandmother to pick him up from the mall and promised he'd explain later. Then he climbed into Maya's car and drove the small family to a quiet apartment complex on the edge of town. Inside, Maya finally collapsed onto the couch. Not physically, but emotionally. The kind of collapse that happens only when a person feels safe enough to let go. Daniel stayed with her for hours. He made tea, helped put Emma to bed, and sat with Maya while she talked, really talked, about the pressure of working 2 jobs, raising a child alone, and pretending every day that she wasn't drowning. He didn't judge. He just listened. Because sometimes, listening is the greatest kindness. As night deepened, Maya finally whispered, "I don't know how to thank you. You didn't even know us. Daniel looked around the small, cozy apartment, the drawings on the fridge, the toys scattered on the rug, the signs of a mother doing everything she could. I know what it feels like to need help, he said quietly. And to have no one show up. Tonight. I can be the person I wish I had. Maya wiped her eyes. You saved me. Daniel shook his head. Your daughter saved you. I just followed her lead. Before leaving, Emma came out in her pajamas and hugged him tightly. Good night, sir. Please, come visit us again. Daniel smiled for the first time that day. I will. And he meant it. The next morning, Maya texted him to say she'd made a doctor's appointment, finally asked her boss for reduced hours, and reached out to a counselor. She was taking the steps she'd avoided for months, all because one stranger stayed long enough to remind her she wasn't alone. Daniel realized something too: kindness doesn't always require money, grand gestures, or perfect timing. Sometimes it's just being there. Showing up. Staying when walking away would be easier. In a world where people rush past each other every day, small acts of kindness still have the power to save lives. Daniel didn't plan to become anyone's hero. He was just a tired single dad trying to survive his own battles. But one little girl believed in him. And because of that, he chose compassion over convenience. And that choice changed everything. May we all remember kindness is never wasted. One moment of help can become someone else's hope. If this story touched your heart, share it, and choose kindness today.